Welcome back. What is this, MMA calculator?
I think it did Attic MMA.
Oh, MMA Attic. Get in our attic.
Welcome back. We are here with UFC Vegas, Lemos versus Jandiroba. This is a full card and we are covering all the fights for you, so let's jump right into it. Starting off with the only heavyweight fight of the night between Muhammad Usman and Thomas Peterson. Both of these men are 3-2 in their last 5, each one losing their most recent outing by unanimous decision. This will be Usman's 5th fight in the UFC and only Peterson's 2nd. Thomas's recent loss is the only time in his career that he has seen a decision, with 7 of his 8 wins coming by knockout TKO. He only has 2 wins outside of the first round, and his other loss came late in the 3rd. Usman, on the other hand, has 4 professional wins by decision. This is a heavyweight fight, so the chances are high that someone gets knocked out in the first round, but betting Usman by decision could be a good play here. The model prefers Peterson in this fight, so we are hoping the night starts out with a quick KO in our favor. Our first women's fight of the night is at bantamweight and will be between Luana Carolina and Lucy Pudilova. These ladies are both 3-2 in their last 5, but Luana is on a 2-fight winning streak while Lucy is on a 2-fight skid. Carolina will be moving up in weight after coming in heavy for the 2nd time in her last fight at flyweight. These two primarily fight to decisions, with only a handful of stoppages sprinkled throughout their careers. I doubt we'll see anything spectacular here, but the model does give Luana a 58% chance to win, which is plus EV against the book odds. Loik Radchabov and Trey Ogden will be the next fight on this card. This fight could easily be mistaken for a striker versus grappler matchup, as Loik has finished 8 of his 18 wins by knockout, but only 2 of those have happened in the last 7 years. On top of that, Ogden has never lost by KO TKO. On the other hand, Trey has finished 11 of his 17 wins by submission, nearly all of those by guillotine or rear naked choke. But Loik has never been subbed and even has 5 submission wins of his own. It also seems important to note that in the last 5 years, both of these guys have mostly gone to decisions. The book odds have this listed as a pick'em, and our odds agree. We are showing the smallest bit of value on Radzhabov, and maybe we'll even see him deliver Ogden's first KO loss. The next bout sees Dione Barbosa step in on short notice against Miranda Maverick. Miranda is the much more experienced fighter here, with more than double the number of professional fights, and also she has 9 fights in the UFC to Barbosa's 1. Both of these women have a fair amount of submissions under their belt, but, as expected in this division, decisions are the name of the game. Dione is making a pretty quick turnaround after her first UFC win just over 2 months ago. The model prefers Maverick's experience here over the 4-fight win streak of Barbosa. It doesn't look like we are getting great odds on Miranda, but we are still betting all model favorites, as it is currently showing to be the most profitable strategy. Staying in the lighter weight classes, we have Brian Kelleher fighting Cody Gibson. Both of these guys are on losing streaks, Brian dropping his last 3 and Cody his last 2. Gibson is the significantly bigger guy in this bout, being 4 inches taller and having 7 inches in reach. This is Cody's 2nd run in the UFC, his first being in 2014 and 2015, where he went 1-3. After TUF 31, he was given a second chance, where he is currently 0-2. Kelleher, meanwhile, has been in the UFC since 2017, going 8-8 in that time. We would assume that whoever loses this fight will not be getting another contract offer when that time comes. The book thinks that Gibson is likely to win this one, and the model agrees, but without much conviction. The final fight on the prelims is between Haider Amil and Jiang Yeong Lee at 145 pounds. Both of these guys have very impressive records, with Haider at 9-0 and Lee at 11-1, with his one loss coming all the way back in 2017. He was then able to avenge that single loss less than a year later with a first-round TKO. Their records indicate that they are both well-rounded fighters, but with a larger number of their wins coming by KO TKO, we should expect this fight to take place on the feet. Most of Lee's finishes come in the first round, while Emil prefers to finish in the second. So if we do get a finish, we won't have to wait too long. The model only slightly prefers Lee in this matchup, and the bookies are a bit more confident. This one has been added to the pick'em list as we decide how to handle these in the future. The main card starts off with one of our favorite fighters, Do Ho Choi versus Bill Algeo. The Korean Superboy has been on a bit of a slide lately, losing his last 3, which unfortunately date all the way back to December of 2017. He is returning from a long layoff due to mandatory military service, and we really hope that he is ready to go back on another 12-fight win streak. Algeo has been much more active recently, with this to be his 4th fight in a little more than a year. Bill is a moderate favorite at the book, and our model only has Choi with a 50.3% chance to win. Count this as another fight on the pick'em list for later analysis. We've got a single men's flyweight fight on this card between Cody Durden and Bruno Silva. This bout was originally scheduled for September of 2023, but Durden was not medically cleared to fight. Since that time, Silva has not even been scheduled for another fight, while Cody would fight just 3 months later. He also had a fight scheduled last month that he withdrew from. Cody's last fight was a loss to Ulanbekov that snapped a 4-fight win streak, and Silva is on a 3-fight win streak that started after a loss to Ulanbekov. Both of these guys have well-rounded games with plenty of finishes and decision wins. The model likes Durden here more than the books do, which offers us good perceived value for our money. At 155 pounds, Kurt Holobu is looking to get back in the win column against Kenan Kurchewski. After a 0-3 run in the UFC between 2018 and 2019, Kurt recently won the TUF 31 lightweight tournament before losing to Trey Ogden earlier this year. His opponent, Kenan, won a Contender Series bout toward the end of 2023 and then lost his promotional debut to Elvis Brenner after accepting a short notice fight less than 2 months later. Kenan, with a record of 15-2, has only seen 3 decisions in his career, with his 1 decision loss being overturned. Kurt has only been to 1 decision in the last 5 years, and that was in his most recent loss. Both of these men have shown that they can finish the fight anywhere, but submissions are the most common for both. The model and the bookmakers both favor Kenan in this matchup, with the model being much more bullish. Hopefully, with a full camp behind him, we'll see an exciting finish from the newcomer. Our feature bout at featherweight is between Steve Garcia and Sung-Woo Choi. I'm not sure why Garcia's last fight was at lightweight against another featherweight, but nonetheless, he is back at featherweight for this fight. Both of these guys are very tall for this division, coming in at 6 foot even. Choi does have a 1.5-inch reach advantage, if you can even call it that. Garcia is currently riding a 3-fight win streak in the UFC, with all 3 coming by TKO. Choi, on the other hand, hasn't fought in nearly a year, but was able to snap a 3-fight skid in his last fight. These men both like to finish fights with strikes, Garcia being the more proficient of the two. They both fell victim to counter-strike knockouts in 2022. The book odds favor Garcia in this one, and our instincts agree, although the model has dictated that we lay a bet on the underdog Choi. Hopefully, he has come back better after the time away. The co-main event will see Brad Tavares face off against Jun Young Park. Tavares has been in the UFC for a very long time, but has not looked good, going 2-3 in the last 3 years. In roughly that same period, Park is 5-2. He did lose a split decision in his last fight, but before that, he was on a 3-fight rear naked choking spree. Brad has never been submitted, but Park has a mostly even split amongst his wins and has shown he can be dangerous anywhere. Of Brad's 20 career wins, 13 have gone the distance, and he hasn't finished a fight since April of 2018. My bias is showing as I'm writing this, and I'm glad that the model is on my side. This is another for the pick'em list, which is growing long at this point. We do believe that the bookmakers are more in line with reality and are happy to be placing this bet on Jun Young Park. Finally, our main event sees Amanda Lemos battle Verna Jandiroba at the top of the strawweight division. Lemos has lost 2 of her last 5, but both were to former are current champions. Jandiroba is on a 3-fight winning streak, taking her last loss at the end of 2021. Lemos has gotten 8 of her 13 wins by KO TKO, while Verna finished 13 of her 20 wins by submission. Lemos was able to avoid the submission threat of Mackenzie Dern in her last fight and win the decision. The predictive model thinks she can probably avoid the submission again and is giving her a 52% chance of victory. As a slight underdog at the books, a win here would be a good way to close out the night. Overall, we made 12 wagers this week, 7 favorites, and 5 underdogs. That totals a risk of 16.38 units with a potential return of 29.43 units. And hopefully this week we will realize at least some of the 13.05 potential profits. That is going to do it for this week. Don't forget to follow us on X at MMA Addict, where we will be live tweeting during the fights. Also, give us a like and subscribe here so you can follow along with all our wins and losses each week.